Cannes is it's a place where the best creative, the best marketing ideas from around the world are profiled, and it's more than recognition. It creates for us at least a goal. So if we think the work is, if as a market people are focused on is this good enough to go to Cannes, it creates at least a culture, a device to push them towards excellence. And the idea of being able to compete with 30,000 other submissions and to be able to actually get recognition within that sea of excellence is fantastic. And you're going against some of the most cynical, most marketing, communication-oriented people. So I think if the work is worthy and effective and recognized, it can certainly make a big, big difference in consumers' lives and to our business. So it becomes, a barometer, but it also becomes a device for us to push ourselves. And it's also a great place for us to come and see what other people are doing and begin to adopt and integrate those learnings into what we do as we innovate going forward. Well, if I think about, agencies are complex structures. So if I think about the big question is the account person, right? Because we have a big reliance on the creative, and we have planners and so on. So what is the role of the account person? Are they just a manager? Are they a coordinator? And I think increasingly as we look at the people within our organization that are doing communications, that are doing brand management, we look at them as general managers that work with our creative excellence people, our connections people, and so on. So if I take the model that we're operating on, and I apply that to you, I think account people are like mini GMs in that they have a set of functional people that they work with. They have a set of stakeholders, whether that's the client, whether that's customers, whether that's even senior management that they have to manage. And ultimately, they own the business, and their responsibility, their job is to grow the business for us as a client, to integrate all the different functional leads so that they're on strategy and they're collaborating towards a common goal. Also to help us align and integrate as well, and to help curate the brands. So really I see the role of the account person more as a GM, and unfortunately in the past it's been a salesperson. They're there, they're selling the work on behalf of other people, and they don't own it, rather than owning the work, believing that the work is going to make a difference and resolve problems. GMs are about problem solving to grow business, and if account people can think that way, behave that way, their role, their significance, their integration into our business will be absolutely invaluable. So in the spirit of that, of someone who's, if account people are about solutions providers, and therefore GMs to providing solutions for the brands so the brands can grow. There's a couple of models that we're working at, because we have one model which is called 70-20-10, which looks at that 70% that is working. So we know it's working, it gets us the volume, it gets us the reach and everything. An example is like television, even though that's changing. 20% are things that people innovate on that have begun to gain traction and are starting to become more common. And you could see maybe in a few years will become part of that 70%, which are reliable, sure things in terms of driving the business. And then there's the 10%, which is innovation, things that are pushing the boundaries. They may fail miserably, they may also spark a whole new way of thinking and marketing. So, what I would ask is, you need to make sure that 70% is perfect. And as an agency suit person, as a GM, as a problem solver, make sure that 70% is flawless, then build in the 20%, which is innovating against that 70%, and then come with fresh ideas that are pushing the boundaries, that are forcing us to be a little bit uncomfortable, but it'll also help us evolve. And then finally, in engaging with us and that will help you at least manage the work internally, so that you know where creative ideas can sit, within resolving the problems, but also it'll help you manage us. So you can say, here's the hard working stuff, it'll hit the 70%, here's some stuff that's more experimental, but let's just see. And then finally, if you can have dialogues with us based on identifying what's the problem, what's the takeaway that we want people to have, what might get in the way of that, what's the execution that could address that, and what's the way of measuring that. Just a simple structure like that. And actually we have a slightly more elaborate system. But if you frame your conversations with the work in that, then you're having a strategic conversation. You're not having a subjective, creative discussion about the logo size or about design. And it's not about whether people like it at a gut level. It's whether or not we think or you think that it will work and achieve that business end.